What up, what up, what up? Getting started just a little bit later than usual. But if you know like I know, and you was up at Club Shay Shay listening to Katt Williams bring all the truth, you know why I'm late this morning. Oh my, straight ether. Straight ether. But we'll talk about that. We for sure gonna talk about that. Katt put it down last night, but right now we're going to get to the stage and we're going to get started with the coach. We're going to get started with the coach. Here he comes, Coach Ro.
Hey,
what up, Coach?
Good morning,
What's happening,
Cess.
Coach?
Good morning, everyone.
Top
Good
of
morning.
the
How are
AM.
you? How are you?
And like I said, I was up checking that ether the Katt was dropping. Ooh,
yeah, I was counting sheep.
Listen. Then you catch up on all of the action because he sure tried to break the internet last night.
It did come across my timeline. It came across my timeline, so I'll definitely check it out sometime today.
Shout out Clip Shay Shay. Bringing the heat. Like I said, if I sat through 2020 and 2021 and 2022 and 2023 to get it like Katt brought it last night, it was worth it.
Wow.
But let's go. Okay. Oh yeah, it was worth it. He's listen. Hey, when they say spare no expense, spare no expense.
Interesting. I'm going to check it out, Seth.
Truth tellers don't gotta be afraid of liars. We.
Now you know you're setting this up now. Now if I watch it, let's hope it lives up to the hype now.
Listen, they wondering, are the bodies that he dropped gonna say anything back? Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, Weinstein, Diddy. I could go on. I could go on.
Yeah, don't, because I want to watch it.
Yeah, TD Jakes, I won't. But we'll see. We'll see. I want to see who say something back. But right now, and we normally we are moving into really start to cover our women's basketball with our Thursday segment. We're gonna start with a current event. I don't know if it's current. It's been something that's been kind of building all year. I guess is how I would say.
Right.
Been kind of building all year, and Coach pointed this one out to me, and I thought, why not? Why not? Go ahead and cover this one. So, but it is a fashion show. I want y'all to know that.
So, Breonna O'Connor, this is a story that stood out to me because, as you can see by the visuals, this young lady is dressed professional. It's, for lack of better terms, appealing to the eyes in a professional sense. There's nothing provocative. As you can see, all of the outfits are pretty much business professional, with the exception of her wearing her Greek letters in the one shot, which is still professional. There is nothing that gives vibe of being inappropriate. And when I first saw this story, I thought to myself, oh, well, maybe this individual was highlighted for the fashion.
Excuse me, Coach Ro.
Yeah.
Here on the Sessions official channel. And this is now joining the conversation presented by Sessions Official. We tell the truth. And while it wasn't anything where she was trying to be provocative, her athletic build was a problem. And let's just put that out there.
Okay.
It was shades of Serena's cat suit. Okay. This is the feeling. This the feeling that these people is having on the sideline. This don't have nothing to do with this little sister. Right. This had to do with people's lust and people not being able to be professional.
Right, because when I first saw it, I said, "Oh, the highlight is going to be on her dress because she must stink as a coach." Looked up the record, and the record was 18-4. Looked up the history. The young lady attended this school. Now, here's the twist: as you know, on the Join the Conversation, we like to bring up points that everybody else did not cover on some of the popular stories that we bring out. So we did a little digging. Here's the part that I really have a problem with. The school that dismissed her is the J.S. Clark Leadership Academy. The Jazz Clark Leadership Academy has a minority enrollment of 100%. It's in an urban community.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're saying here is that this was a collection of her peers that decided her clothing was not appropriate for her job.
I think it was just those peers.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
all them mamas concerned about them daddies at practice. Shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
Probably calling down there, talking about this woman. She ain't doing nothing with trying to engage with these young women, build these young women, give them on and off the court support. And we focus on what she got on.
But here's the twist. She's employed now, everyone, thankfully. She's employed at Scotlandville Magnet High School. And guess where this school is? It's in a smaller community. It's a magnet school. So that means that for those that, and I'm not insulting anybody's intelligence, but a magnet schools means that you have to have a certain level of education or intelligence level to even attend this school. So this school is in a more what we would call prestigious area. Now, this is one of my major problems. As you know, on the Joining Conversation, we're big on community development, supporting the community, and building the community. This is a clear example of the community that Coach Connor grew up in, played for, was very good, by the way, if you look up her history of playing there, that literally turned their back on her because of her choice of clothing. And who embraced her? The Scotlandville Magnet High School. I am going to keep up with this story. I hope that Breonna O'Connor, has an illustrious career on high school and eventually maybe to the college level. Who knows? But I'm going to keep a close eye on what the Scotlandville Magnet High School says. Now, here's something that I really liked about this.
I think she may be O'Connor too, Coach. I may have got that wrong. It may be Breonna O'Connor.
Well, Coach Breonna has taken a classy route. I have yet to see any disparaging comments from Coach Breonna from the beginning of this whole ordeal. And we looked, and we could not find anything where this young lady spoke out or said anything disparaging or anything that was inappropriate, retaliatory, you name it, about anybody in the community or anybody there. She's literally thankful for her start. She says she's settled into her new school. She's met the players already, and she's ready to go. Now, what's going to be interesting? I wonder if her new school plays her old school. That'll be something to look at because they're not that far. And if they're independent Scotlandville Magnet High School, I'm sure she'll take on that game if they were to accept it. So let's keep our eyes on that. But we wanted to just start the show with something like this because, again, I think it's a travesty. And I saw one article, which I don't like to throw these words around a lot, but it was definitely very, it was an attack on feminism. That's what one article literally highlighted, meaning the style of dress. They even brought out, which I agree, we've seen coaches with flower suits, loud suits, inappropriate dress, and not a word is said for the men that are on the sideline. So why is it that this young lady is criticized so heavily? I'll stop there because we could talk about this for a while, but we just wanted to bring that up, Cess, unless you have some more thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm just going as a female that played ball. I played for a lot of years, and I only had the opportunity to play for one female basketball coach, well, one African American. One black female coach, Janice Dudley. And the impact that she had on me about the game, but also just from a professional standpoint of how she went about doing her business. One of the best coaching experiences I had because she looked like me. She knew what I was expected, what I wanted out of the game, and she knew what it would take to get there. Right. So she was able to be able to share on all of those levels. And I think that it gets lost on how important that is. And that's not to take away from the male coaches, because I also had another coach, Arthur Miller. let me tell you, profound impact on the game. But nothing like being able to play for a black female coach as a black female. And I think that's one of the things that Coach Staley, really preaches about as far as like where the black coaches in female sports. So happy that Coach Breonna is working again. Shame that this stuff had to happen, but we'll definitely be on the lookout for more things like this because she had a stellar career as a player, and had moved into a stellar career as a coach before it was interrupted about what she had on. And I didn't find and I said it was like Serena in the cat suit. Y'all know, like Serena in the cat suit was like, it's jiggling, baby. Go ahead, baby. For real. And nothing, I said that, but nothing that this coach had on was like that at all. I mean, really all professional, all classy, not even nothing that was like over excessively tight, nothing that was like too much skin. She looks like the girl next door. I don't know if they didn't like the red bottoms. I don't know if she was just a little too she had a little bit too much swag. I don't know. Like I said, I think it had more to do with what people were calling and saying about her. It's a shame that people get so caught up in what people look like that they're not looking at the type of impact that this young lady could have on their young ladies that are in sports. And I was really happy to see that Coach Breonna did keep in touch with the team after she was unjustly let go. She still kept in touch with those women and those young ladies, and that's what the big thing is. Y'all know I always, and if you see me out, you probably saw me with my "fuck them kids" shirt on, but it really ain't "fuck them kids" because I'll kill you about a kid, really. And that's just the truth. It's about the kids. So shout out Coach Breonna, and we will be watching.
Yes, definitely.
Now, on to something else that we just can't avoid talking about this week. Caitlin Clark, breaking hearts. Caitlin Clark versus Michigan State. My first time watching Michigan State this year, I had, Coach had raved about them a little bit, said he thought they were a good team. What I saw out of Michigan State was like really a gutsy performance, especially from a team that's not ranked. The Michigan State team, where those ladies, put up a fight where they were in a position to go to overtime or win this thing. And every time it seemed like Iowa was getting away, Michigan State made a push to kind of get back into the game, and they just kind of ran out of time. The last play of the game, I have to go back and watch it. I think that if I remember correctly, the player went under the screen and she should have went over. We got spun around a little bit and lost Caitlin. Hard way to lose the game, but she'll never make that mistake again. So great mistake to learn in January and not in March. So tough one to take for Michigan State, but I expect the Lady Spartans to bounce back. Caitlin. Okay, here's the thing about Caitlin. Caitlin is a baller. Caitlin's got game. I don't have anything but respect for her skill set. But y'all, I'm not a Caitlin Clark fan like that. Like, I'm not tuning into the Iowa games. They don't bring me to the screen. I may not have dived enough into the backstory because a lot of times for me, y'all, it's the backstory to a player that brings me to the game. So I'm learning about Caitlin. I respect Caitlin. I'm looking forward to seeing Caitlin in the WNBA. I'm really hoping that she goes to the draft this year and goes to Indiana so I can see what that looks like with Aliyah Boston. But amazing 3-point shooter. She dropped 40 on their heads. Started a little slow, but got it together. Ice in the veins. In a Steph Kobe kind of type way. No doubt who's going to shoot the shot at the end of the game if she's on the floor. But it seems like if you get physical and you get strategic with Iowa, you got a chance. So I'll stop there and let you speak, Coach, because you know way more about these two teams than I do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm impressed about my Michigan State Spartans is that there's an equal distribution. And this is what I spoke about last week about the love for the game, understanding the fundamentals, running the plays, and sharing the basketball. I'm going to call off some numbers for you. 8, 10, 14, 16, 6, 10, 9. Those are the points of all of the players that scored on the Michigan team. Very, 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 very balanced, okay? So they have a formula that can give a team that's centered on one, maybe 1.5 players, and they should have won this game. Like Seth said, what they did was they countered the dynamic individual talent with team play. Now, as you mentioned, Seth mentioned 40 points by Kaylin. Now, let me run these numbers by you. 15, 8, 6, 3, and 4. This is the formula that I've seen that could cause Iowa some problems. It's like a double-edged sword. This is an extraordinary, unique talent that we have not seen in a long time. Speaking of Caitlin Clark, she's a very, very precise shooter. She cannot be given any daylight to shoot. When she's given daylight to shoot, she will make you pay. She has a number of accomplishments and things that she's done throughout her, what we will call a short career so far, since the age of 16, all types of FIBA championships and things of that nature. But this game in particular stood out because it showed that this Iowa team is solely reliant on Caitlin Clark. Now, you may think, well, is that a bad thing? Kind of, if we're talking about doing things past conference play and doing, we're going to get into that a little later. But this game to me was a microcosm of what could go real good for a team with a superstar in Caitlin Clark, and what a team that shares the ball. They learned something from this game. They learned, like you mentioned, some of the strategy, getting physical, and literally running through their plays, sticking to their game plan, and wearing a team like this down, because Iowa's not really high powered. They rely heavily on the 3-point shot. So this game was an interesting game because it was kind of like a tale of two halves. Michigan State was in control in the first half. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Seth, they were either down 2 or up 2 at halftime.
I believe they're up 2, and they led for a few times. They led for a few times in this game. Right. I got a question for you. So Caitlin Clark, she dropped the 40 on her head. I didn't see a lot of defense.
No,
I didn't see a lot of defense.
Not at all.
So
Not
I'm wondering, is that a part of her game? You know, does she have can she step up and shut somebody down?
No.
Or is she relying on being able to allow you to make a 2 and I'm going to go down and make a 3? And
no, she's relying on scoring is her defense.
Because I hear people say a lot of times that she is like the Steph Curry of women's college basketball, and
okay,
I take issue with that.
Okay,
because
that's where we're going.
She may be a young Steph, but I think people don't give a lot of.
They're going too far. They're going too far.
I mean, I don't think people give Steph enough credit for where his defense has grown. In the game. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that Steph, is shut down defender, but when it comes time, the chef can make a shutdown play. Mm-hmm. We've seen him make a couple plays to stop some blocks, some steals, some knockaways, and so he's very in tune to that part of the game and really working on building that part of his game. So I was just wondering, like, if this was an off game for Caitlin, and she also has that shutdown defense. I'm really more impressed by the two-way players. I find that for me, if I'm going to build a team, it always starts with defense, because I figure if you can stop them enough, I can teach you how to get the ball in the hoop. So,
yeah, and like you said, though, this game here is Michigan State kind of were caught playing Iowa's game. When they stuck to the physical running plays, going from inside out, they controlled it. When they go down and try to play their game, you're going to lose that. A lot of teams are going to lose that. Like I said, we're going to get to that a little later in the show, as far as like why we're kind of laying a foundation of this Iowa team and what their strengths are, because it's going to segue into something else we'll talk about real soon.
But Caitlin is definitely one of those weapons where if you keep it close, she can close it at the end of the game. So that's definitely a great weapon to have on your team. Moving into the reason that I watch basketball, women's college basketball, the South Carolina Gamecocks and that coach Dawn Staley. So coming into 2024, we are still ranked number one, although no longer unanimous number one. UCLA did get a number one ranking vote based on that whooping they put on.
I saw that.
I think that was USC.
Yeah, it was USC.
So we had London Jones, and of course the Bruins are 12-0. They're having a phenomenal start to the season. London Jones finished that game with about 21, I believe, somewhere around 5-6 rebounds. And Lauren Betts, 15 and 8. And I think Kiki Rice had around 12, 13, somewhere right there. And then Juju Watkins, she had kind of a slow start, but she was able to finish with like a double-double. I think she was like 27 and 12, 27 and 11. Mackenzie Forbes added 23 points. I don't think USC had enough firepower really for UCLA. Coach Corey Close has the Lady Bruins playing awesome. So I can understand, but I don't know if the win over USC really should have given them a first place vote. I don't know.
Well, this plays into what we've been talking about. Let's just call it what it is. This is the South Carolina Cupcake Classic. I hate to say it that way. That's just what it is. The committee, they're going to try to find some type of storyline. They're going to try to find someone to try to make this entertaining. I don't know if everybody's been watching, but South Carolina has been showing that they're absolutely dominant. They're not beating teams by 20 or 30. They're beating teams by 40 and 60, sometimes 70 points. And if you watch the games, I mean, let's be clear. If you have somewhere to go or to do something, South Carolina's a great team to watch because you can be gone.
Not against Utah. The Utah game was a pretty back and forth game. Utah. I think the Utah was a little young still as a team earlier in the season. I expect Utah's one of the teams that's on my list to see where they at going into March. They could spoil some dances for people if they get going and we got the 18th toughest schedule for the rest of this for the rest of the way. We got to stop the turnovers, which we did a lot better with in our last game. I think that was East Carolina we played against, and the free throws. We can't make free throws. That's a problem.
And I'm gonna tell you what, if I'm not mistaken, when I was looking at power rankings, strengths and weaknesses, and I think one of South Carolina's weaknesses that was noted was rebounding. This could be a problem. We're gonna get to that. Yeah, we're gonna get to that too. I have something for that as far as the teams that could potentially,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, rebounding is something that I've seen, but we see what Dawn Staley is doing. Dawn Staley is a genius at coaching. I think that Dawn Staley is the strengths-based coach, meaning Dawn Staley knows the talent level of her team, and she's putting the players in a position to excel in their respective areas of their talent. So Dawn Staley's not trying to change anybody on her team. She's finding ways to insert them into her system so that the team can be successful. That's what I like about her coaching style. You've yet to hear any of the former players come and say, well, Dawn changed the way I played or held me back or I wasn't able to do this. These players are going to the WNBA and excelling because they were able to enhance their strengths in a developed program. So
not only that, it's crazy because her developed program and her secret to success, as she put it, is freedom.
See,
freedom.
I like that.
letting them be who they are on the court
Thank you. You
within the
said
line.
that better than me and with less words.
Uh, these are her words.
Yeah, I
These
was
are her
gonna say
words,
she
right?
said that
Okay.
better than me and less words.
And that's what's leading to these impressive statistics that she has in scoring, margin of victory, 3-point shooting. And that it's amazing to see that this happened with the amount of turnover that the team has. I think that's what's so amazing to me, like the depth of the team. It's like where you just gonna keep finding somebody to step up.
Yeah.
Like Dawn, you growing players. What's happening?
Yeah, and we see what she's doing. Like if you look at the different stat lines, you'll see little edges of improvement in some of these players. Because see, here's what Dawn knows. Coach Dawn Staley knows that these are the players that win championships. You have your foundational players that are, whether they have a average or great game, you know what you're getting from them. She takes the time to literally develop. And here's something that goes underrated too. Even the transfer players, like, hold on, where you played before, it's going to look different when you play for me. So again, I'm not changing your game, but I'm going to show you how to use that talent within our system here to make us more successful. So,
oh yeah, she definitely allows the game to open up.
yeah.
She definitely allows their games to open up. She definitely allows them to explore their game.
Mm-hmm.
Because you may have been in a high school system that required you to do certain things or to be a certain type of player. And here, let's just see who you are as a player and how all of those things and talents contribute. So, excited to see what we look like as conference play gets started. We will see the Florida Gators tonight. I'm going to be tuned in. It's interesting to me how hard they make it to watch women's basketball. Now, some people may have thought that it was really a great thing that Caitlin Clark was featured in a Peacock game.
I'm
right?
so glad you brought this up.
But it's just not enough good basketball on to make every good game. You have to have a subscription or pay for it. Like, we need to be able to share this game with the younger people and give them opportunities to be able to have access to these games so that you can see the game done right, so you can see the game done wrong, so that you can get different aspects of the game. So you got, Iowa was featured only on Peacock. There was nowhere else to watch it, as far as I know. If there was, let me know. I mean, and I'm not talking about bootleg and I found the streaming site and all that. I don't get into all of that. If I'm gonna watch, I'm gonna pay. That's what it is, because I want people to understand that I have a respect for their talent and what it is that they're trying to give, right? But especially as we're trying to build a bridge between women's college basketball and the WNBA and grow these brands, to see more success and more money going into the professional end of this sport, we need to be trying to get this product on as many affordable, cost-effective mediums as possible, I think.
Well, and
so
I think
even looking at tonight, I think if you don't have football TV,
right,
I don't know that you can watch tonight's game. Right?
I'm gonna tell you something. To me, there's two words that have contributed to this, and I would say social media. A lot of these players have different platforms now, and I'm gonna have to look up and see, does Iowa have a contract with Peacock similar to what Notre Dame has? I don't know. They may have a contract, and this may be because of
and it may be that they're NBC. It may be that they're NBC teams,
right?
And
exactly.
So a contract with Peacock, but coming into that, you got to be able to say, "Hey, Peacock, I need this on the free part of your subscription, not the paid part."
Yeah, but I will say this though, and I think that I think every sports league is looking at, and I said this before off record, they're looking at what the NHL did. The NHL survived for years without being on major networks. But what you have to understand is that's a different type of crowd. You can't do this with what we will call more of a household type of sport with basketball, baseball, things like that, and putting them on these exclusive channels or streaming outlets that are unattainable by the average household. You can't follow that blueprint. You just can't.
And the other thing is, on some of these in some of these instances, we should be able to see these on the NBA TV or
Right.
an alternative piece, or carry some of these big games on your WNBA platform. I don't know. I would love to see just more of a partnership between NCAA women's basketball and the WNBA to be able to help grow the brand. And I know that's wishful thinking, and we'll leave that there because there's nothing we can do about it but talk about it. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I chose this particular picture of Dawn on purpose. This was the shirt that she wore at the last game, and everyone watches women's sports. Make it available to everybody. I did that one on purpose.
What's the logo on the bottom? Is that? I wonder what logo that is.
I'm not sure. It's like a little X. I'm not sure what that is, and I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate.
That's a public place T-shirt to wear.
Now that we kind of know where South Carolina is at, Coach Roy is going to take his shot at trying to convince me about who can stop South Carolina from getting the championship or going undefeated. I don't know. Is this just in the regular season? Is this overall?
This is tournament. This is overall because and let me just tie in what we were talking about Caitlin Clark. This is a highly debatable subject or statement that I'm about to say, and please chime in the comments even after the show if you're not here live with us now. Or
get up in the comments because we engage. You know, hit the subscribe, hit the notification, hit the like, hit the share. Get some comments. Let's get the conversation going.
I personally think that this year for Caitlin Clark is championship or bust. I stopped counting after 30 awards that Caitlin Clark has received. So let me get into this. The teams that I think can challenge South Carolina. First, we already talked about the UCLA Bruins. Now, let me tell you why the UCLA Bruins may have a chance in the tournament. The statistic that stood out to me, and I kind of touched on this with MSU, they're second in the entire league in assists. They average 21.83 assists. When you move that ball consistently, it does not allow the South Carolina team to swarm and attack you defensively like they intend on doing just about every game. Sometimes it looks like it's 6 or 7 South Carolina players in the court. I'm not making this up. Watch a game. You'll see it. If you sit there long enough with the ball, you're going to be faced with heavy defensive pressure, not just individually, but even by 1 or 2 players at any given time. They're second in assists. Now, let's talk about Lauren Betts. Lauren Betts averages 16 points.
I got a question real quick, Coach. I'm sorry for what you just said. Totally get it. But do you mean to make it seem as if Coach Staley wouldn't have an adjustment that she can make on the fly with her team? Should something like that happen in the tournament? I was just wondering, what do you think about her coaching abilities?
No, I'm going off of straight up the averages of what a team is good at, which is UCLA. Of course, she'll come up with a counter. But if UCLA is second in assist, that means they're going to make an adjustment too. Are they?
No, I just wanted to know where,
Yeah.
What we were talking about here. Okay.
No. Yeah. That's a good question. They can move the ball side to side.
They got 5 players averaging double figures.
There you go.
Gabriella.
Lauren Betts is 16.8. She averages 9 rebounds.
What's
2.3 blocks.
Gabriella
Jacquez averages 12.7 points a game. They got
at one point that was up to about 16.2.
That's right.
She's been up.
Kiki Rice averages 13 points. Charisma Osborne averages 14 points. Again, what's scary about UCLA is that they have multiple double-digit average scores, which means it's a reflection of them sharing the ball. Now, here's the thing. They get good shots.
Side note.
Yeah.
I've never met a charisma on the court that couldn't ball. I just wanted to put that out there. Go ahead. I ain't playing.
And I'm going to tell you, there's another, I'm not going to say underrated. There's a player named Angela Dugalik. She's a forward. Okay. She averages 9.3 points per game. Okay. She's shooting about 40% field goal. So these are they have these players that could potentially cause problems for South Carolina because they have multiple threats on the court and they share the ball. That's my first team. Over again, teams who could possibly challenge South Carolina. Should I go to my next team, or are you going to speak on that?
No, go see your next team.
The next team, we kind of talked about them a little bit, was the Iowa Hawkeyes. Okay. The Iowa Hawkeyes, for obvious reasons, because they have a game changer in Caitlin Clark. We know what she can do. And what I'm looking at is you have a couple players that if they continue to play the way they're playing, they could cause a problem. The first one I'm going to talk about is Hannah Stokey. She averages 14.4 points per game. She's a forward. She has a nose for the ball. She's a very good rebounder. You also have Kate Martin, a guard, averaging 11 points. You have Sharon Goodman, averaging 7 points. This is a center. I'm mentioning the size on their team for a reason, because if they can have, and I'm going to say this, I will have to almost have the perfect game, which is possible, which is quite possible. What I mean by that is Caitlin Clark does not have to go below the free throw line to do anything. The forward and center can handle their business, or at least match what South Carolina's doing. And Caitlin Clark have a shootout with the backcourt of South Carolina. That is a scenario that I don't think South Carolina would like, having a shootout. South Carolina wants to control pace. They want to run the score up. They want to put you in situations where you're turning the ball over, which, again, that's why I mentioned they would have to have nearly a perfect game. South Carolina would definitely, with Dawn Staley's ability to adjust, would absolutely get the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands. That's why I mentioned the supporting cast. The supporting cast, this will be a very interesting matchup in the tournament, which could eventually happen, because we're going to see Dawn Staley take away Caitlin Clark. And the other players are going to have to prove that they can score in order for Caitlin Clark to get back into the game. It'll just be a fascinating matchup, but I think that that's another team that could potentially beat South Carolina. The last team, and you all knew I was coming for this one, the LSU Tigers.
Don't do that.
What?
Don't do that, and I'm not a fan. But those young women earn the right until it's all settled in March, that every time you talk about them, the defending national champion LSU Lady Tigers, they earn the right to be introduced just like that every time until somebody's the new champ. So the defending national champion LSU Lady Tigers.
And here they are. So again, here's the number one stat that stood out to me. They're number one in points per game. Fans, they want to run. They're not afraid to run. They're not afraid to run up the score. Here's another category that they're first in, which was a little surprising to me. They're first in steals. They're first in free throws made and attempted. These are all the recipe to go very far in the tournament, and more importantly, the topic we're on right now, to beat a South Carolina team. If we're talking about the individual talents on the team, listen to these averages of these players. You got Haley Van Lith at 12 points per game. Michaela Williams at 17 points per game. Anissa Morrow at 18 points a game. Floje Johnson at 12 points a game. Angel Reese, 19 points a game. Samaya Smith, 11 points a game. And I didn't even mention Ayla Del Rosario at 7 points a game. And last tier, Poa, just getting acclimated at 5 points per game. They are absolutely loaded. It's a powerhouse of a team. They haven't skipped a beat since the controversy of whatever was going on. They've made a full recovery after the unexpected loss to I forgot who they lost to. I want to say it may have been Colorado. But that unexpected loss that they had. This team is for real. And I think that first in points per game and free throws made and attempted, they can beat you in different styles. because if they're against the ropes against a team like South Carolina, they can dump it down low. They can go to the post. That, I think, is one of the biggest areas that will stand out in this matchup. It would be South Carolina's slashing and backcourt versus LSU's down low play. Who wins out? Who would do that? I think it would come down to the players that can kind of do both. And it's such an evenly matched up team when you think about that. But LSU definitely is, to me, the team with the highest probability or chance to beat South Carolina. And this is in the tournament.
Okay, let me jump in here.
Yes, please.
UCLA, I haven't watched enough of them to speak. Iowa, I seen the game. Caitlin Clark, I know what she's about. But with those two teams, especially during your spiel, your theory, you only talked about, it sounded like the starting five. I didn't hear much about anybody off the bench doing much of anything. Starting five in double figures. That's nice. That's a nice trick. That's nice to do. South Carolina do that too. And so where the gear shifts for me on those two, and I'll watch a little bit more UCLA as we get going, because I want to deep dive into that team. I think they got a lot of talent there. I just don't know a lot about them. But where I shift gears there is that Malaysia Fulwiley's coming off the bench, so I ain't even got to my generational talent, and I think she averaging double digits too. So I'm wondering what they got on their bench to deal with what I believe that she's gonna look like by March, working with Dawn, right? Because if everybody got up off out their seats, because the first time y'all saw her, she had the behind the back layup, the little crossover layup that Magic was talking about. She should be so much more comfortable come the tournament. So I can appreciate. I don't know if you just needed a 1 and 2, or you didn't want to just come with one, or what. But you didn't sell me on those two, Coach.
No,
you didn't sell me on those two, because you got Ashlyn Watkins gonna come off that bench too, right? So it's like, hey, and then when I'm looking at the starting five, Chloe Kitts has come so far. I don't think that we talk enough about where Chloe Kitts' game has gone from last year to this year. Night and day. Okay? Night and day. So I expect her. I expect my starters to be my starters. I expect my bench to be my bench. And I don't think that there's a team out of the two that you mentioned that are deeper than South Carolina, especially if we stay healthy. Okay. Now, the defending champs, deep. Because does Flau'jae start?
No, I don't think so.
Michaela, did she start? Is that her name? Am I calling her name right? Did she start?
I think Michaela starts.
Okay, yeah, she started. And then Angel starting.
Yeah. No, I think Flau'jae does say. Flau'jae starts.
And then after this, if we're being honest, it's not to take anything away from Caitlin and them. But we were supposed to get this matchup last year. So we come in 1 March. We come in 1 March late. And so I was excited to see what that Angel Reese, Aliyah Boston matchup would have looked like. But now I got to see what Cardoso is going to do. And what will she be? What will she look like by March? Is she going to be able to bang with Angel? Angel got a knack for rebounding. I saw Asia Wilson talk about it, and I went back and just looked at some of the highlights, and she's got a knack for where the ball is. So that's another matchup that'll be interesting, right? But Malaysia's coming off the bench.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying about that. But
if my starting five cross each other off, my money's on my generational talent coming off the bench to be the difference maker in March.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I've seen that scenario play out very, very little in both women and men's college basketball. But it has happened. But we know when tournament time comes, it is about the starting five. It is about the star players. Who's going to step up and do what they need to do? But like I said, there have been some instances. The Duke team we talked about before, when we had the emergence of, I keep forgetting the man's name. We talked about him. He's played for Phoenix now. He was a freshman, came off the bench. Nobody knew who he was, and he single-handedly changed that entire game. I could see Fulwiley doing that. I could see Fulwiley.
This freshman guard named Michael Jordan. I'm sorry.
I can see her coming up.
I'm sorry. Everybody forget about freshman. He wasn't Michael then. I'm sorry. He was Mike Jordan.
But that proves what I said. It's rare. It's rare.
So it's a generational talent. And that's what generational talents make their names. And so that's what I'm saying. If she's working as hard as I think she's working, then come March, she might even be a starter. But I know she's gonna be a problem. Period. Let her be healthy. Let her be healthy. I'll put her up as my sixth man against any other sixth man you can bring off.
That's an interesting topic. If she ends up starting, I think Dawn Staley is going to keep her, like you said, sixth person is maybe to.
And when I say starting, that's not mean. I don't mean
right. Starters.
I don't really mean taking somebody else's spot.
I get it.
I mean that people will be saying stuff like, this is my lazy Fulwiley, this freshman guard. She could be starting on any other team in the nation.
Or you can see a scenario where she's on the floor with four
starters minutes. Yeah, for sure, splitting starters minutes, all of that. I don't think that for Dawn it's you get a certain number of minutes because of who you are. It's who's hot, who's not, and that's what we going with.
Yeah.
And who can make their free throws.
Well,
who can make their free throws and who can stay on the floor. And right now, I think my laser's shooting like 70% from the free throws.
70% from the free throw line.
You're gonna have to get that up. But I also heard Dawn say that she's not pushing free throws in practice because then it gets in people's heads. So you just throwing in some free throw work. So we'll see how that works out. But that takes us into just really quickly some of the games we're going to be looking at this week coming up. The UNC Notre Dame game I'm really interested in. I want to see Hidalgo play. They also are playing against Pittsburgh. South Carolina games I'm going to watch because it's South Carolina. I don't know that they'll be as competitive as people hope. We got Florida State and NC State, a matchup of ranked teams. I'm looking forward to that on the 4th. And then we got also NC State and Virginia Tech, West Virginia and Texas, TCU and Texas. So we got some good ranked matchups coming up, and then just some good, our standard talent. LSU is going to go up against Ole Miss. That can be a good game. Oregon is going to go up against USC. That could be a good game. Oregon State, USC. So we got some potential. Oregon, UCLA could be a good game. Florida State, NC State. So, anything standing out for you, Coach? Solid week of hoops for me, I think.
I think that USC Oregon game is going to be interesting. In the NC State Tech. I don't know who NC State is really, and I'm not saying I don't know who they are, like know the player, but I don't know who they are. They're ranked number
identity.
3. Yeah, but Tech, they have size, and I'm curious to see who wins that battle of the wheels in that game. I'm curious to see who can step up in that game. I was surprised I didn't see UCLA and OSU on here. I'm gonna watch.
I don't know if they get UCLA, OSU is up there. Oregon State.
Oh, yeah.
No, I got USC. Oregon State is up there. I got UCLA, Oregon, and then USC, Oregon. I might have missed the UCLA game if that one's out there.
Yeah, because UCLA, like you said, already beat. Yeah. That's gonna be an interesting game. But yeah, I think the most interesting one will be NC State. Tech, because it's not a cliche that it's the matchup game, but I am going to watch LSU Ole Miss just because I want to see. I want to get into the mind of Moki. I want to see what her rotations look like. I want to see, is she playing game to game or is she preparing her team for the tournament? Are they running? I hate to use the cliche. Are the inmates running the asylum, so to speak? That's kind of disrespectful. for those of the mental health community. So that's not what I mean by that. But I'm just saying, I wonder if, what is the program looking like? How is she playing there? UNC is definitely going to give Notre Dame a tough game, as they always do. Another team I don't know much about that continues to creep up is TCU. I don't know anything about them. I need to look them up. I think I did see that TCU was one of the tallest teams in women's college basketball. So I'm curious to see what they're bringing to the table against Texas. Iowa, Purdue, all the Big Ten games. Look, let me tell you something. We're seeing a shift in the conferences. Look at the Big Ten, everybody. Look at the Big Ten. All of the Big Ten teams in women's college basketball, there's only a few of them where you look and say, okay, that's an automatic win. Nobody expected Michigan State to push Iowa. I think Purdue is going to do the same. When you travel on the road in the Big Ten, it's an event. It's a spectacle. And trust me, Caitlin Clark has an X on her head. Everybody wants to beat the Iowa Hawkeyes. They're going to watch the film from the Michigan State game. And I think that's going to be an intriguing matchup. So I'll tune into that one too. Those are my thoughts. Sess. Thank you for asking me. Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you know what, though? Okay, no, we'll talk about that later because, yeah.
So this is a new segment we're going to be doing. It's like Fulwiley's Corner. We just phenom watch Fulwiley's Rise. We're going to be just keeping an eye on it. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about her high school career here. All-America, McDonald's Naismith third team, All-USA Today team, 3 times South Carolina, 3A Player of the Year, 2A Player of the Year, 2023. Just a generational talent. She creates advantages on the basketball court, elite athletic traits. Come on, she's her processing speed is what's so important to me.
Mm-hmm.
How quickly she processes, because you don't teach that. So that's a God-given talent or a higher power talent, however you look at it. It's a generational talent, but it's something that's within her that you don't teach. It's innate to her. Improvisational skills out of this world. She sees the court. She sees the court beautifully. I think
what I noticed about
her hard work mixed with her talent is going to be really interesting to see. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, Coach.
No. You know what I noticed about her, and you mentioned some of the areas that she needs to clean up. She has the most turnovers. She has 24 turnovers, and in watching her, I don't know if it's her not being able to keep up with the speed of the game, or do they need to learn how to keep up with her? I think there's a reason why the great Magic Johnson tweeted the way he did, because he sees a lot of his court vision and feel for the game in this young lady.
I think what it is, Coach, is
tweet a lot about anybody. Okay, so for him,
she hasn't had that great the game slowed down moment.
But that's what I'm saying. Is that her fault? It's like,
no, not her fault. It's a maturation that hasn't happened in her game yet. So people and I hear a lot of NFL players like, I got to the game, and what was different for you between season 1 and season 2 of being able to get the ball out and to your receivers? The game slowed down for me.
Okay,
it wasn't so fast. I got used to. I think she's still adjusting to the speed of the college game.
But I guess that's what I'm saying, though, Sess. Is it a situation where she's such a generational talent? Do the players need to, in fact, adjust to her?
No.
Not that she's making bad passes.
No.
They're just not expecting a lot of them. Like, whoa.
No. Part of the game slowing down for her is being able to now take the time to understand who you're on the court with. It's building this chemistry. It's understanding where people are at. And it's knowing that, okay, she's going to be there, but it's a beat slower than I'm used to.
Okay.
Or it's a couple centimeters ahead of where I would normally place it. It's figuring that out. I think it's just the feel for this college game, and that's why I think she's going to be such a different looking player come March if she's working as hard as I believe she's working, and taking to Dawn's coaching method as much as I think she is, because Dawn's not afraid to be tough on her, and she's not afraid to sit her down, and she's not afraid to make her earn her minutes. And when she has defensive lapses, she she sits her down. We don't take risk with that. I don't want you to get broken out there. I want you to be able to sit down and see what you're doing wrong, and then we'll work on getting you to where you need to be. So, like I said, with her stepping off my bench as the sixth player, with these just under 60 days, probably a growth that she'll be able to have under the tutelage of Coach Staley. I can't wait to see what March looks like. I'm excited.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Where would you like to see her 3-point percentage? Right now it's at .318. 30%. Where would you like to see? What's a fair number?
I've seen it range between 31 and 37. I'm not so much worried about her three right now. It'll come. I like the fact that she hit some timely threes.
Okay.
So for me right now, to me, we'll concentrate on stats, and that would be the goals and growth points that we set going into the next season. My focus right now for her would be getting comfortable with the game, building a great understanding of the defense, learning how to anchor the team, and building chemistry right now. And just making sure that she's getting into the flow of being a college student athlete, because we don't want to forget that student piece of this. So that's where I would be with her. Kid gloves, and just letting her take it all in, and making sure that she understands she can make mistakes. One of the things that I heard Coach Staley say that I thought was really cool was that she's meeting kids where they are, and she understands that a lot of times they don't like to talk about the negative stuff or the stuff that went wrong, because a lot of times they're being tore down in so many other areas. And so it sticks with what you're doing good and then how you can improve. And I think that's a great approach for keeping the energy and the positivity around the team. Coach, I think you got to get out of here. We could close right here with Fulwiley's Corner. I want to take the time to thank everybody who is tuning in for the first time. We really appreciate all the engagement, all the likes, all the watches. Let's get the conversation going. Get in the comments. You can talk about anything we talked about, anything you want us to cover. You like what we said? You didn't like what we said? You think we should consider something else? Let's talk about it. And until next time, stay tuned. We'll talk soon. We out.
Peace.